Yo, what's going on, your boy Ghost here, and today I am bringing you guys another comparison video between the Amax and Krig. Now, before we get into, I guess, the details of this comparison, we're back home, man. No more, I guess, echoey or voiceover or whatever. We're back at the setup, man. We're back on grind mode. But anyways, man, I wanted to make this comparison because, you know, it might seem a little random to some of you guys, but this comparison was actually kind of inspired by my subscriber, aka my boy Joker, in my last video where he commented to make a video on the Amax. And at first, I kind of wrote it off because I was like, you know, I thought the Amax wasn't really that good. And ever since the Season 4 Reloaded, when they nerfed every weapon, and after I used the Amax, after that update, I felt like the gun was just very bad. And I didn't want to give it a chance. But I decided to give it a chance. I didn't just want to write it off. And wow, this gun completely surprised me. And I think it should be talked about a little bit more. Now, I'm not going to go overboard and say that the Amax is like the best AR in the game, but I will say that the Amax is potentially back in, I guess, this meta of Warzone. But anyways, man, with that being said, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 2,000 subs. We're like about 170 away. Any sub helps. And also, man, if you guys do me a favor, follow my Twitch channel at @always__. I'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, man, with that being said, let's get into this comparison. And here we have the recoil pattern for the Amax. Now, this is probably not new to you guys, but to be honest, I really felt like this Amax this time around, I feel like I had a little bit less recoil than what I remember it. Obviously, that's probably not true. Nothing recoil related probably changed with the Amax, but to me, it just felt like I had a little bit less recoil this time around. And when I was using it, it really felt like it wasn't that hard controlling the recoil. And keep in mind, I haven't really played Warzone in over a week, so, you know, my whole aim and all that shouldn't have been there. But yet the Amax didn't feel like it took that much to control this time around. And normally in the past, it definitely required a little bit more effort to control and be able to shoot at long range. But this time I had no trouble with it. Maybe it was because of the headshot damage. Maybe it was just the whole multiplier making it easier in range, because I was getting quite a bit of headshots this time around. And I was making some ridiculous kills. As you guys saw in one of those clips right there where I completely destroyed that guy on top of green and promenade. That was probably one of the highlight kills of the day with the Amax. And that's kind of what opened my eyes to be like, yo, wait, this gun is legit. And I know this gun has been kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of had a weird history in Warzone. I honestly, actually no, it had a brief period in time. I forgot what season it was, like Season 4, where it was somewhat the best AR. But, you know, it's always been a pretty solid AR until that Season 4 Reloaded update, where they nerfed everything and the Amax kind of just got hit hard. And things like the Krig, EM2, or just any other AR that's currently being used right now just kind of overtook it. And I mean, like, at the end of the day, this Amax does have that recoil aspect to it, whereas like other guns like the C-58, the Krig, you name it, like all these guns don't have recoil, and you don't have to worry about using your right analog at all, because the gun is literally being controlled by itself. Like, you have to do nothing to shoot straight, whereas the Amax, you have to actually put in that effort to be able to hit all your shots. And this is one of those weapons where I feel like you get rewarded for hitting all your shots. However, hitting all those shots isn't the easiest of tasks, and that could probably turn away some people. But I feel like this weapon is something to keep an eye on, or not, maybe not keep an eye on, maybe. I definitely do think it's a weapon that's capable of competing with the meta. I know that sounds kind of crazy, because the thing like the Krig, which has no recoil, is pretty unstoppable. And even the Stunner now with the gun that has no recoil and is very powerful. You know, if you feel like weapons that seem to be untouchable. But I don't know, man. I definitely think the Amax has some sort of place in this meta. Again, I'm not claiming it to be the best AR, because by by no means is it the best AR. I'm not gonna lie to you guys and be like, oh yeah, this is the best AR, new meta. But I am here to make the case that it is back, and it is very, very viable and very usable in this current meta, even with, I guess, all the weapons not having recoil and this weapon just having that recoil aspect. It's just the damage is something that you can't ignore. I thought it was initially a little bit weaker than I imagined it, but it actually turned out to be still pretty powerful, and I'm very, very happy with how I performed with it, very happy with the results that I had with it, and I would definitely recommend it to you if you're, you know, been bored playing Warzone recently and you wanted to switch it up. Again, you don't have to take my, I guess, insight or whatever, but, you know, just hear me out for once, alright? Well, with that being said, man, let's get into the Krig and statistics. And here we have the recoil pattern for the Krig. And some of you guys may feel like this comparison is a little bit unfair, because, you know, the Krig is a gun that has no recoil, and that fact alone puts this gun above pretty much all the other ARs. That's not to say that, like, you know, all the other ARs don't have a lot of recoil. I mean, to be honest, most of the AR category doesn't have recoil, and the Amax is kind of like an exception, because that gun does have recoil. But I feel like it's definitely not the craziest recoil out there. Not easily manageable. It's manageable, but I feel like it's kind of a hit or miss weapon. But right now in the current competition of best primaries here, we have the C-58, the Krig, and Stoner. I wanted to add on the Amax into that conversation because, man, when you hear these stats, bro, you're gonna be quite surprised. But anyways, starting off with the first stat, which is to me is gonna probably be one of the more surprising one, considering that it doesn't really feel like it, which is the fire rate. The Amax has a 630 RPM, whereas the Krig has a 652 RPM. So that means that the Amax, although it doesn't feel like it, statistically has a slower fire rate than the Krig. However, the difference between the fire rate is very small. This is probably the smallest difference that I've had in comparisons ever. Maybe there might be one other comparison that kind of has a similar difference where it's like less than 30. I'm not sure, but that's definitely here. The fire rate isn't that big of a factor. I think maybe in like a one bullet scenario between like a Krig and Amax at close range, which has actually happened to me, that's where it's going to come into play. But for the most part, I think that the fire rate is kind of irrelevant, nothing too crazy. But now we're going to get to some juicy stuff. And I got to say, a little disclaimer, I didn't think the Amax was still hidden like this. I thought it actually got completely smoked in the mid-season update, and I should have been paying more attention to these stats because this is actually the first time I'm seeing these stats in a while, and I got to say, I was very surprised. But anyways, for 0 to 25 meters, the Amax damage is 54 damage to the head, 42 to the neck, 35 to the chest, stomach, and extremities, which are the limbs. And on the other side, we have for 0 to 34 meters on the Krig, 45 damage to the head, 39 to the neck, 33 to the chest, 32 to the stomach, and extremities. So obviously, the Amax has slightly more, I would say, significant damage, especially in the headshot department, than the Krig. And man, it's definitely, you could definitely feel the headshot damage with this Amax. I again had a lot of engagements where I was getting, quite a bit of headshots, and it was definitely effective, definitely getting me those kills a lot quicker than a Krig. But again, on the other hand, I think the Krig is a weapon more suitable for long range. The Amax is a weapon that requires work, and a lot of people don't like to put in the work to get those kills. That's just the truth. That's why this game is catered to the player base that it's catered to, and that's why a lot of these weapons have no recoil, because people just don't want to put in the extra work. And even then, the Amax doesn't require that much work, because quite frankly, this isn't some rocket science thing where this gun really requires a lot of attention, a lot of practice to become good at it. Like, it's not complicated. It's literally COD. Like, control recoil in COD isn't that difficult. You might disagree with me on that, but truthfully, COD is one of the easiest games out there, and controlling recoil on a gun like the Amax isn't that difficult. Literally, just shoot a couple bots every day, and bro, I'm not telling, like, in a few days you'll have it down. Like, no matter how good or bad you are, you'll have it down. And adding on to the fact that the damage on this Amax is very significant. I mean, think about it. It's at 0 to 25 meters. If you hit 5 headshots, you're gonna kill somebody, which is insane to think about. Like, a weapon this powerful isn't getting the attention it deserves. Which again, like, it is understandable in, I guess, the casual's perspective, but dude, like, I feel like this weapon is getting kind of robbed, and I apologize for doubting it this long. But anyways, moving on to the farther range damages. For 25 meters and above, we have 48 damage to the head for the Amax, 37 to the neck, 31 to the chest, stomach, and extremities. And then for the Krig, we have 37 to the head, 32 to the neck, 27 to the chest, 25 to both the stomach and extremities for 34 meters and above. And again, the difference in damage is there, but in long range, this really just, I don't know, this is where it's going to come down to the recoil stuff. The Krig, obviously, for most people, is going to be the clear-cut winner at range, but I'm telling you, bro, with the Amax, if you're able to hit most of your shots, you're able to control it pretty decently, you're going to have a lot of success. Trust me, man, use this gun, give it a chance, and you'll see that the Amax is a weapon that is being slept on heavily right now. I can understand, though I do understand some people's hesitations, though, because, again, I feel like right now we're in, like, a no-recoil meta. I think we've been in this for quite some time now, and I don't think we're going to get out of it for a while. Even when Vanguard comes out, I highly doubt any, like, if a Vanguard weapon comes out, or if all those weapons come out and the recoil is, like, maybe Amax level a little bit less, and the Krig and C-58 and Stoner are still, like, very good, it could pose a threat or a problem, because I don't know, man, I just want to get away from this no recoil meta, bro. It's truthfully just so irritating, no skill, and it's just, man, dying without being able to react is just, it's just, no. With the Amax, you have some room to react, and I know some people might not like that. The fact that the Amax gives your opponent a little bit chance to breathe, because, you know, you have to be, like, pretty precise. If you start missing shots, you know, you won't be able to capitalize on the positives of the Amax. So you gotta be you actually gotta be really careful how you utilize this Amax. I won't say too careful, but you know, you gotta be aware, more aware than like a Krig-6 or Stoner. But anyways, man, with that being said, let me know what you guys think about the Amax currently in Warzone. Again, I literally stuck on this weapon, but now I've opened my eyes to see how good this gun actually is. So maybe you guys, after this video, will be able to do the same. But yeah, man, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later, and I'm out. Peace.